ladies and gentlemen, members of the jury, members of the Roll the Tape film crew, I have a question. Does Errol Spence truly has a chance to beat Terence Crawford? I mean, that's the question I have. Well, I'm not the only one that have that question. There's a lot of people that have the same question, and we need answers. There are two types of audiences right now. There's your one audience who says that Terence Crawford dominated Errol Spence so much, there's no point of even having a rematch, because the same thing that happened in the first fight to Errol Spence is going to happen again, and even worse. Then you have another audience that says that Errol Spence is going to be at the weight that he's more comfortable in, at 154 pounds. His performance is going to be more improved, and the fight's going to be more competitive. And in fact, Errol Spence is going to win this fight. Those are the two audiences that are colliding all over the YouTube boxing community. So my question becomes to both audiences: does Errol Spence have a chance to win in the rematch? I wanted to give some facts to lay a foundation so that we can come to the conclusion of what that answer is going to be as this fight and the promotion to this fight begin to unravel and unfold. Now, the foundation starts here. Terence Crawford dominated Errol Spence on July the 29th of this year. He dominated him in classic fashion. I mean, he did. He knocked him down multiple times to a point where the ringside physician had to come inside the ring and evaluate Errol Spence Jr. As the fight progressed, the writing was on the wall. I had the referee of that fight, Harvey Dock, here on this channel. I interviewed him, and he even said by round 5, he started to get those initial concerns to possibly stop the fight earlier than he did in the 9th round. And so this fight ended in dramatic fashion by Harvey Dock, the referee, calling the fight off. And of course, Terence Crawford became the undisputed welterweight champion of the world. Now, there is another fact, and I know that people want to avoid talking about this. I know the implications that it may have. I know that some people interpret when I talk about this fact as undertones and inferences and all of these other big words that some people don't know the meaning of. But my point is that there is a known fact that we have to talk about. And that is Terence Crawford's performance was enhanced. And it was enhanced by the SNAC program, a legal nutrition program that provides training regimens, which are very unorthodox, oxygen masks included, supplements, legal supplements. I don't know if there's any dietary plans a part of this nutrition plan or not, but just the basics, we know that those things helped Crawford in this fight. And it helped him in his previous 2 fights before this fight. Nothing wrong with it. It's the SNAC program. Nothing wrong with it. There's other fighters on it too. And we see their performances enhanced. So we know that the SNAC program works. Now, those are the facts that we have to deal with. Okay? The other fact that we have to deal with is that Errol Spence have been adamant about not being able to make the 147-pound weight. Right? Okay, that's a fact. Another fact is that Errol Spence did not look like himself. When I say look like himself, I am talking about his performance inside of the ring. Okay? To me, in my observation, and I said this time and time again, no excuses, his legs were not all the way there. His coordination was not all the way there. Accustomed to what I'm used to seeing out of Errol Spence Jr. Okay? That's a fact. Now, there's some other facts involved that we have to deal with. The other facts involved that we have to deal with is, I say it time and time again, my friends inside of the sport of boxing and my friends outside of the sport of boxing have heard me say this time and time again, years ago, even up until now. There's two types of beatings that professional boxers take. And based on how they recover, or if they don't recover, will determine what type of beating they took in their last fight. Fighters get beat up and fighters get beat down. Those are the two types of beatings. Inside of the ring, Errol Spence got beat up. That's a fact. But we don't know if he got beat down until we see how he recovers in this next fight. And even in the fights after, if he chooses to continue his career. And when I say the beat down part, so the beat up part is physical, right? That's the physical punishment that fighters take. The beat down part is the psychological, mental, and emotional beating that fighters take after suffering not just their first loss, but also in the fashion that it happened to Errol Spence. And we've seen this time and time again in the history of the sport of boxing. And so we have to deal with that fact. That is the element, that is the elephant. Well, it is an element too, but that's the elephant in the room. Did Errol Spence get beat up in the fight with Crawford physically only, or did he get beat down as well? And he could have gotten beat up and beat down. We don't know. But my point is, he has an opportunity to redeem himself in this rematch. And he should not be counted out. It's not fair to Errol Spence if people count him out, and I'm talking about the first audience that I described earlier, and say he don't have a chance to win. The first fight, was a masterpiece, and then the second fight is going to probably be worse for Errol Spence than the first fight. We can't automatically say that, okay? That's why we have rematches in the sport of boxing, because it gives the fighters an opportunity to run it back and roll the tape, right? And so that's what rematches are about. Now, Terence Crawford, there's some psychological elements involved in the rematch for him too. He might have the mindset of, I already dominated him in the first fight. I'm just going to go back in there and do the same thing. So my training regimens and commitment levels that I had in the first fight, they're not going to be there. My hunger to defeat him is not going to be there no more because I've already done it. So I'm going to be a little bit lackadaisical. My professional boxing trainer and friend and mentor is dealing with some legal issues. We don't know what's going to happen with that and how he's going to be a part of my training camp or not, or is he going to be available? These are the psychological effects that this rematch can have on Crawford as well. In other words, he could actually underestimate Errol Spence in the rematch because he's already dominated him. So it works both ways with both fighters, and I wanted to provide both perspectives and all of the elements involved, stir it in the pot, and then come out with a lot of different anticipation for this rematch. Errol Spence Jr., he definitely has a chance to win in the rematch. No question about it. But we don't know if he just got beat up in the first fight, or did he also get beat down? We've heard rumors that Errol Spence himself has parted ways with his head trainer in Derrick James. We don't know if that's true or not, but if that is true, we got to add that in the pot as well. Okay? So all I'm saying is that both elements between both fighters, the psychological elements, exist for both guys. But the question on the floor today is, does Errol Spence Jr. have a chance to win in this rematch? The answer is yes, but it's predicated off of whether or not he took just a beat up physically in the ring, and did he also just take a beat down psychologically, emotionally, mentally in the first fight. We shall see. And we only want to see it at 154 pounds too. You know what? I'm doing way too much talking. Don't take my word for it. Roll the tape.